Hello everybody. I hope everybody are doing well. Welcome back to my Animal Kingdom Chapter 4 Session 7 classes. In my previous class, I completed phylum Platyhelminthes. Before that, the first phylum to start was phylum Porifera, then Coelenterata, Ctenophora, Platyhelminthes, and today I'm going to start up with the fifth phylum called Aschelminthes. Let me share the screen first and then start my class. Well, dear students, last class I spoke about phylum Platyhelminthes and I said that word is derived from a Greek word platy and helminthes. Platy refers to flat in English and helminthes was referring to worms. Today a similar type of name or terminology we are using it again, and the phylum name is called Aschelminthes. Let me tell you, Aschelminthes phylum is having alternative names also. In textbook, it's not been mentioned. I think the one name is mentioned, but I don't think the other name is mentioned. I'll mention the alternative names also so that you can keep in mind, and when you get the study material, you can cross-check which name you have to keep in mind. So starting up with this phylum Aschelminthes is also called as phylum Nematoda. Nemato. This word should be familiar for you. Why? Because in my the second phylum Coelenterata, we studied two names for that phylum. The first one was Coelenterata, the other one was Cnidaria. And if you recall why that name came, Cnidaria, CNI. Okay, C was silent there. And also we studied Cnidoblast was there, cnidocytes were there, and also we saw nematocytes were present in the tentacles of the animals or the members of coelenterate. So the name Cnidaria. So nemato, if you remember, I gave you the English meaning of that one. Nemato refers to what? Nemato refers to thread. Cytes means cells. So I'm speaking about Coelenterata still. So thread-like cells were present. So here also the same word nemato. Nemato refers to thread and oda, animals. Aschelminthes, that is very important. In Greek, askos refers to circle in shape, round. Or a circle, a round structure like this, circle. Helminthes, platy means flat, helminthes means worms. So here also helminthes means worm. So there, platyhelminthes, we generally call those organisms as flatworms. Here, Aschelminthes, round worms. So we cannot tell roundworms because roundworm is a common name of one organism here. Okay, roundworm is a common name of an organism. I don't want to tell in detail, but still I remind you, Ascaris lumbricoides is a scientific name. Its common name is called as roundworm. So don't mention the animals belonging to phylum Aschelminthes are called as roundworm. Don't mention the term here. Nematoda, if you stick on, nemato means thread-like and oda means animals, thread-like animals. We'll see how it looks like. Daratara. Okay, na? Aschelminthes is also in some textbook, not in your textbook, in degree textbook and all, it's commonly mentioned as Nematyhelminthes. Nemato means like thread-like worms are also mentioned. So this is a brief introduction of the name. So don't worry, in your examination they will not ask you what is the meaning of Aschelminthes, nematoda and all. This is just for you to have your basics strong in biology, right? So we'll go through the general characters of phylum Aschelminthes or nematoda. First one, body of these organisms are cylindrical, circular in cross section. Hence, they are called as roundworms. Yes, they are called as roundworms. As I said, in general, when you come to second PUC, you will be studying an organism. I will be mentioning you that later. That animal is also called as what? Roundworm. So better, yeah, you can write this sentence. But to be specifically correct in biology, actually it is not exactly right. Now, we'll concentrate on the point now. Body of Aschelanthes of these organisms are cylindrical. Can you see a bottle in my hand? Everybody on the right part of your screen, you can see. If I cut this bottle at in this plane, ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ನಾನು ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ಸರ್ಕಲ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. You will get a circle, right? You can see a circle now. Right? Exactly. These organisms body will be cylindrical. And if you cut and see, you will get a circle. You can see in cross section, you can see a circular body. That is the meaning of circular in cross section. But if you would have taken a platyhelminthes and if you cut, assume my hand, now my palm is platyhelminthes. If you cut this and if you see, you can see just a flat structure of the body. That's why they were called as flatworms. But these organisms, body is cylindrical. It is cylindrical. So if you cut, ಇದನ್ನ ಈ ತರ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನೀವು ಹಿಂಗೆ ನೋಡ್ತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ರೌಂಡ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ, circular in cross section. Hence these organisms derive the name Nematoda or Aschelanthes. All right. Hope this first point is clear for you. Bilaterally symmetrical. Yes, dear students, in my previous class I mentioned phylum Platyhelminthes is the first phylum to exhibit bilateral symmetry. Once alla bilateral symmetry bantu andre primitive organisms alli, it is an advanced character. The same character should be seen in the higher phylum. So here you can just mention the Aschelanthes or nematodes or the organism of this phylum are bilaterally symmetrical, and you can move to the next point. What is bilateral symmetry means? You need not explain here, but you should be knowing when you cut an organism through central median axis only, you get two equal halves, wherein one half is the mirror image of the other half, right? So here, hence we are studying general characters. We'll mention it as these organisms are bilaterally symmetrical, and we'll move on to the next point. Organ system level of body organization. See, phylum Porifera, it was the first phylum what we studied. It was displaying cellular level of body organization to Coelenterata, tissue level of body organization, and hence Ctenophora, tissue level of body organization. Hence I mentioned personally, Coelenterates and Ctenophores are almost twin type of phylum, I said. And coming on to the fourth phylum, organ level of body organization, that is phylum Platyhelminthes. Now, the advanced one is what? Organ system level of body organization is seen in Aschelanthes. This is the first phylum to exhibit this character. From now onwards, all the future phylum what we are going to study should be having, or they should possess, organ system level of body organization. What is the meaning of that? There will be dedicated organ system to perform different functions of the body, digestive system, circulatory system, like that, right? But I'll mention you, not entire organs and organ system may be present, but few organs and organ system may be produced in this organism. And as we proceed towards the higher phylum, we will see what complex structures and the advanced characters or advanced organ system level formed in these organisms. For time being, we have to just mention in this general characters or salient features that the organisms, the members of this phylum have organ system level of body organization, and we'll move on to the next point. They are triploblastic in nature, right? First phylum I said Poriferans we did not discuss because they had only cellular level of body organization, but Coelenterates and Ctenophores, they were having tissue level of body organization. So hence they were having diploblastic type of body organization. Their body were made up of two types of germ layers, outer ectoderm and endoderm, inner endoderm. And when we came to the fourth phylum Platyhelminthes, we saw triploblastic in nature for the first time in entire animal kingdom till what we have studied. ಟ್ರಿಪ್ಲೋಬ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಪ್ಲಾಟಿಹೆಲ್ಮೆಂಥಿಸ್ ಇಂದ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇನ್ನು ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗೋ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಟ್ರಿಪ್ಲೋಬ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಕಮ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಟು ಡಿಪ್ಲೋಬ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್. ಟ್ರಿಪ್ಲೋಬ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಏನು? The body is made up of 3 germ layers: outer ectoderm, inner endoderm, and middle mesoderm. Okay, here once again you need not explain it, you can just mention the phylum, the members of this phylum are triploblastic in nature. Done. We'll move to the next point. I also made a very important note mention for you. What is that? Whenever you mention about the organism's germ layer condition, that is especially, to be specific, triploblastic. When you mention the word triploblastic, immediate point you should comment. The next immediate point that you should comment is the coelom condition of the body. You have to mention the coelom condition of the body. So they are triploblastic. Done. We know the meaning. Pseudocoelom. These organisms are pseudocoelomates. Previous phylum, if you remember, there only we started about to speak about coelom condition. Yake Platyhelminthes was triploblastic in nature. Idu kuda triploblastic, in mundak baradu kuda triploblastic. So ನೀವು ಟ್ರಿಪ್ಲೋಬ್ಲಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ನೀವು ಅದರದ್ದು coelom ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು. Keep one thing in mind, in entire phylum what we are studying, only Platyhelminthes will show pseudocoelomate condition. Very important. Now only Aschelminthes or Nematoda phylum will show pseudocoelom condition. So ಈಗ ಇದು ನೋಡ್ತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಇದು important to this phylum, this is also very important to this phylum, and this is also very important to this phylum. Now what is pseudocoelom? You have to go back to my second class again, second session, and those who are following my classes regularly, you will be having no doubt, because this will be something like easily drinking water, right? So pseudocoelomates. So these organisms have a false body cavity. So they have a false body cavity. False body cavity. What is that body cavity? Internal body cavity. But this body cavity is not covered by or lined by mesoderm. So we are not considering it as a coelom. So hence you can mention this as these organisms are pseudocoelomates. Enough. We are not going to define. So after mentioning the organisms are pseudocoelomates, we'll jump to the next point. These organisms may be free living. These organisms may be free living or parasitic. I want you to link these two words together. Okay, I just stuck on to the textbook point. You have to mention like they may be free living or parasitic, and when you see their living condition, they can be aquatic or terrestrial. Done. They may be free living or parasitic, aquatic or terrestrial. Free living means they will be moving around freely. And speaking about parasitic means they are most of them will be found attached to the host only. Parasite ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು host ಜೊತೆನೆ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು. So it may not be easily moving around. Got. And one more condition we are having, they are aquatic or terrestrial. ಅದು ನೀರಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಇರಬಹುದು and ಭೂಮಿ ಮೇಲೇನೂ ಇರಬಹುದು. So they can be found in water as well as on the land. So this is one of the point. Moving on to the 7th point, these are very familiar as parasitic worms. As I said, most of them are parasites. ಯಾಕಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ you cannot find the formation of leg, wings or something like that to move around. So most of the organs are not formed. So most of them will be parasites. So if you see, they have mentioned worms causing elephantiasis, filarial worms, Vaucheria. Filarial worms. I'll show you the photo of the diagram of that at the end of this session. So just keep in mind, these worms cause diseases in humans also, and some of these worms infect our intestine also, and that is roundworm or pinworms. As I said, that's why I said, to be biologically correct, we cannot call all these organisms as roundworms, because roundworm they use it for ascaris. Right? So these are just examples you can keep in mind, or else they can ask, the question can be asked, mention to the disease causing Aschelminthes. in humans. So this one, roundworm and filarial worms, these are English terms. We'll move to the next point. Alimentary canal is complete. My session 2, I believe, we spoke about the two types of digestive system in animal kingdom. What were they? To mention what are those two types? One was incomplete digestive system and another one is complete digestive system. To speak about here, alimentary canal is complete. So that means you can write the same sentence, or else you can just mention okay, if you don't remember, you can better you use the term or else digestive system. Digestive system is complete. That means this alimentary canal, the tube that runs from mouth to anus is complete. So there is a presence of mouth and there is a anus for the excretion. So this gives us a hint that digestive system is getting formed. So that's why we studied organ system level of body organization. Okay. So still, if you are not clear with this alimentary canal is complete or digestive system is complete and incomplete, you have to go to session 1, 2 and 3 again. There is no option, or else you will not understand. So for time being, alimentary canal is complete is enough here. We are not going to explain while telling about the general characters. An excretory tube removes body waste from the body cavity through the excretory pore. Once again, this is an important point. This word you will not come across in other phylum. Excretory tube anta ide, aderdu function eno excretion na each means excretion perform madutte through a opening. So I can just assume, you can just imagine like this. If this is the digestive tube, okay, so from here this part there will be a excretory tube. From this tube there will be a opening here, okay, there will be a opening. This we can call it as excretory pore. From this pore, so after the food is digested here, it may be passed to here, and from here this opening excretory pore, the waste will be thrown out of the body. So no diagram is required, just you should mention there is the presence of excretory tube which conducts this excretion function and it excretes the waste through that opening called as what? Excretory pore. So this is once again a unique point belonging to this phylum. Now, for the first time till today, I was telling there is no separate male, there is no separate female. I gave you a word. 2 to 3 times I mentioned that word strongly. That word is called as hermaphrodites. Right? What was that condition? In a single individual, male and female, both sex organs were found there only. This is very important point. This you are going to study in this diagram, and this terminology you will study in lab, and the same difference you will be studying, same sentence you will be studying in second PUC lab also. So put this point in your mind today only. For the first time in entire animal kingdom, we are seeing sexes are separate, male and female are separate, sexes are separate. We in a biological term, we use this term dioecious. We pronounce it as dioecious. If the sexes are not separate, I said you, I will be giving you the other terms for hermaphrodites. We call it as monoecious. Right now, it will be confusing for you, so that I will give these terms after 2 phylums, so that your brain will be set to understand what is these terms. For the first time, male and female are found separately. Male organ in one individual, female organ, sex organ in another individual. So this condition is called as dioecious. And one more important thing, not only the sexes are separate, if you put male and female next to one another, and if you see, you can from far looking at the morphology, each kade iro structure in an external morphology nodine, you can tell which one is male and which one is female. How? here the next point says that female are generally larger than male. Females male ginta ದೊಡ್ಡದಾಗಿರ್ತದೆ. See here, this one, as I said, I will give you example. I said you right. This one is roundworm in English. In second PUC, you are going to study the scientific name of this one, Ascaris lumbricoids. In lab record also, you are going to write this name. I'll just write the name. Ascaris lumbricoids. That is not required for you this year, okay? And this animal is commonly called as roundworm. Here you can see male, and this one is female. See the length of female. Female is, this one is larger. And vice versa, you need not tell females are larger and then males are smaller. No need. Females are generally larger than male enough. And male, if you see, not only they are short, this portion you concentrate, the posterior part of the body is hooked. Okay, it is hooked, H-O-O-K. Okay, it is bent like a hook like structure. Kokki tara bend agirtade. Okay, the left side is the diagram what I have put. If you see the right side here, right side if you see, okay, you can see here male bent hook-like structure on the posterior end of the body. Female, no, it is straight. Female, both the points are straight. You can see here also it is straight, here also it is straight. Right? So that is what, by looking at the animal you can tell which is male and which is female. So male and female are first of all separate, and also by looking at them you can easily make out which is male and which is female. This phenomenon in biology, this process in biology is called as sexual dimorphism. CET, NEET and all, this term is very important. Sexual dimorphism. Not only the sexes are separate, but also you can identify which is male and which is female by looking at their external morphology. This condition or phenomenon is called as sexual dimorphism. Okay, this is a parasite. This is a parasite in human intestine only. ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಹುಳ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, after taking tablet this will come out through the excretory waste. Okay, and if you see this animal, it looks like a thread. When you come to college, we will show you the live preserved specimen. You can see it will be looking like a long thread. Bili dara tara kanutte. That's why nemato word is used. Right? So this is the unique character and a very important character of phylum Aschelminthis, and the best example studied is this roundworm or as Ascaris lumbricoids. So finishing this 10th point, we'll study the 11th one. Fertilization is internal. Once again, my third class, phylum Porifera. There are two types of fertilization. One is internal fertilization. The fusion of gametes occurring inside the female body is called as internal fertilization, and if the fertilization is happening outside, means there should be a water medium, that fertilization is called as external. Here we are just mentioning fertilization is internal, and we are moving on to the next point. Development may be direct or indirect. See, till yesterday we were speaking only indirect development. In animal kingdom, there are two types of development. One is indirect development, the other one is direct development. Indirect development is primitive. We studied frog, if you remember, in my third class, where the young ones are not similar to the adult, but they go through many larval stages in their metamorphosis from egg to adult stage. Now, here, development may be direct, wherein the young ones will be similar to the adult, or indirect. So there is a hint for us. Maybe from this phylum, there will be some advancement in development. Maybe in future, there will be the dominance of direct development may be there. Just guessing. We'll see in the next phylum what exactly happens. Okay. So to mention, fertilization is internal, no explanation. and development may be direct or indirect. So keep one thing in mind while writing the general characters in examination, you are not going to explain the general characters. And every time I say, once this slide is done, pause this screen, take a screenshot or write the notes what is there. Write this only as notes. Yeah, you will get a study material from the college, but writing habit is very, very important. These points only you are going to write in the examination. So better read 4 points without seeing that you write it in the book. And if parents are watching this class, you have to tell your children that they can at least write 2 points without seeing, and if there is any spelling mistake, you have to practice like a dictation. Then only you will learn, because we are not there to monitor you. Only you can monitor yourself, or your parents should monitor. Understood? So there are 2 slides in this class today. No diagrams are required, no scientific names are required. So general characters, this screen you can pause, take a screenshot or pause and write neatly in your book. Why? Because once the college opens, this book what you are writing only will be the assignment. So today, daily after my class, if you spend half an hour, it is more than enough to maintain your biology notes neatly. See, last year they asked us to asked your seniors to write some assignment and give. So looking at the presentation and all, we were valuing. If you keep this work pending, at the end you'll be scribbling and giving, and you'll be losing the marks. So better take your time, half an hour daily after my class, write neatly and understand the concept. And if you are having any doubt, mark it with pencil and you can get it cleared whenever I meet you, or on online or else in the classroom. So this is the second slide what I explained today, having the general characters from 8 to 12. You can pause this screen, take a screenshot and write this general characters in your biology notes neatly. Blue pen, pencil, scale, important words, underline, make it neat. So this is just an example, need not draw the diagram, because this diagram you are going to write it in record. So record, you need not worry, I will give you separate instruction what to do. So for time being, forget about the record also, only theory class you can concentrate. I have put another 2 examples. A filarial worm what we studied in my first slide today. This one, 7th point, filarial worm. It is also called as Vaucheria. And what roundworm we studied. So this is roundworm, Ascaris lumbricoides. The left one is Vaucheria. I have given the scientific name. In English we call it simple name, or the common name we call it as filarial worm, and now it is scientific name is Vaucheria baumkraftii. So need not read the scientific name. It looks like this. And on the right side we are having one more example. This is hookworm. Yeah, here also it is mentioned male hookworm, and above one female. See, in this also if you see, male is shorter, this one, female is larger. See, that is the unique character of this phylum. All the males will be generally smaller than the female, and female will be larger, and body will be pointed. And see, male, in roundworm we had a hook-like structure, but here somewhat flattened posteriorly. Top means anterior part of the body is cylindrical. Anterior part of the body is cylindrical, but when it comes to posterior body, slightly it is flatter here. So we are not going to study in detail these examples, just naming roundworm, filarial worm, hookworm, enough. Scientific name also we are not studying here. If at all it is required, we'll study in the lab. Done? So I will be signing off from today's class. That is phylum Aschelminthes or Nematoda, a very important phylum again. Go through it, study well, and make a note of it. We'll meet in the next phylum. Until then, take care.